Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's short lesson on conducting effective meetings. I haven't come across too many people that really like meetings, especially if they're run poorly. So hopefully after today's webinar here, a little lesson, you'll have a few takeaways on how to conduct more effective meetings. The first thing that really helps to keep the meeting on track is to develop an agenda, which basically answers the question, why are we here? Why are we meeting? What's the purpose? Where are we meeting? When are we meeting, and for how long? Who will be there? Are there any other invitees that I need to know about? What are the topics or the areas for discussion? Is there any preparation or pre-reading that I, as a meeting attendee, need to, is it required? And must I attend, or am I an optional or required or attendee? So these are questions that you should put out there, especially with the agenda. It really lets people know what they're doing, or why they're going, and also what their responsibilities are. The order of the agenda, mostly you want to rank topics in descending order of importance and urgency. If it is a regular meeting, you have to start with actions from the previous meeting. That's just, regular protocol. Combine items that are related and or similar. That'll cut down the time of the meeting, which means when you look at all the stuff that you have to get through, group it with similar items. Start with informational items first before items that require critical thinking and decision making. That way, and I've found this before, any informational stuff you can get through fairly quickly. Otherwise, if you work on the critical thinking and decision making at the very beginning, then the information stuff at the end is quickly run through or disregarded, and people might be quite interested in some of that informational stuff. Have an item or called actions or call to action and moving forward, and allow for any other business or questions and answers at the end. It's really important, if you know the people who are going to be attending the meeting, to do a call out at the beginning to find out if there is any other business that needs to be put on the agenda. Preparation and time. Try to limit business meetings to 30 minutes or an hour. You have more chance of getting the people you need. And one of the things is that, a lot of people really don't have time. They're very time poor. So they get frustrated if you say that the meeting's going to be an hour and it goes over because they may have other things to do. If you really need a productive meeting, schedule it for close to the beginning of the working day or for mid-afternoon. By the end of the day, people are tired. They're not really thinking too clearly, especially if they've had a long day at their workplace and they've had to make some very critical decisions. There could be a number of agenda formats of how to get it out to the people. You can have an email invitation or even an email agenda. You can include it as a document or have it within the text. You can have a formal agenda, which you'll see many organizations and formalized businesses have as a formal agenda, and this will include a list of attendees for the meeting, as well as the minutes of the previous meeting and any other material that's required for the meeting. It's important to send that out, at least a week in advance, so that the people who are going to the meeting have time to peruse the material before they get there. And then you can have an informal agenda, listing topics and the duration of each topic, as well as the key information on the purpose, location, time, and maybe even the outcome that you're seeking for the meeting. Facilitating the participants' preparation it's not really that difficult. It is important to engage them. So if they do need to read material, make sure that you send them the material or the link, at least a week before the meeting. If you do it further out than a week, they're going to forget. So send it out a week, and maybe 2 or 3 days before the meeting, send them a reminder, and even the day before. If you want comments, let them know how they can provide them. If you're going to use Google Docs, make sure that all the attendees know how to use Google Drive or Google Docs, and let them know how the meeting is going to be run and who's going to run it. I've been in organizations where they've had a rotating chair. So you need to make sure that you let the people know who is the chair for that meeting. Another aspect of facilitating the participants' preparation is letting them know if you need information from them prior to the meeting and follow up with a reminder. Sometimes I find even picking up the phone and ringing and speaking to the person that has to give something at the meeting is very important. So many times, I know myself, if you send me an email, I get inundated with emails and I may easily overlook it. Ask if they have enough time and request that they let you know as soon as possible if they cannot contribute. And then follow up before the meeting if you're going to be seeking approval, sign off for something to check on potential issues. So really, in facilitating participants' preparation, really just keep that communication prior to the meeting. And once you do that, they're going to feel that they're important enough to actually be at that meeting as opposed to blowing the meeting off. When you're going to conduct the meeting, you have a few steps. First off, approach. How are you going to run it? How will decision-making be done? Will it be done when voting? How many key decisions will be there that you need engagement? Maybe you might need a quorum. And how will this information be shared as well? When you start the meeting, ensure that everybody gets there early, and you need to set the tone from the outset. You don't have to be a dictator. If there's people there that haven't met each other, allow them time to greet each other, but don't let it go on too long. Obviously, if it's a regular meeting for a committee, everybody knows each other. So let them get a chance to get a cup of coffee or some water and then start the meeting on time. If you do have any newcomers or any outsiders that are sitting in for the first time, make sure that they know the housekeeping issues such as fire escapes, toilets, and the like. When you're conducting the meetings, it's important for everybody to understand their roles. Ensure that everyone knows who's chairing the meeting. Ensure that the timekeeper knows the timings for each agenda item if you actually do have a timekeeper, and really ensure that someone takes minutes. Many times today, because of technology, we have a secretary that records the minutes and then transcribes them when he gets home. Going through the agenda, if it's a formal meeting, you typically need to accept the minutes of the previous meeting, and the only people that can move and second those minutes are people who actually attended that meeting. Stick to the agenda timing as planned, very important. Now, understand there might be some contentious issues that may take longer. If you are the chair, make sure that we're just keep a watch on the timing, and you're in charge of it, so you are the one that moderates how much is said and when to stop the conversation. But make sure that you're tactful with it. Introduce each agenda item so that it's clear that you have moved on to the next item. And if something arises that is not part of your objective but needs to be addressed, capture it for later. So you can say in the meeting, look, thank you very much for the input. I believe that it's a really great point, but let's move it to other business, and then move it to other business so you know you need to address that issue towards the end. Obviously, when you're conducting the meeting, people want to have discussions. So when there is a discussion required, ensure that everyone gets a chance to speak. Also note that anybody, if they decline to discuss on the matter, that you record that as well. In some discussions, you may want to literally go around the table and get everyone to speak, especially if it is a critical issue for the organization. When it comes to decisions, rather than jumping to a vote for everything, try to establish consensus on decisions. So you can what I do in meetings, I go everybody agree? Does anybody disagree? And then we move on. Ensure that decisions are disseminated to the effective staff or stakeholders. And, sometimes there might be a conflict of interest. So not everyone needs to get the copies of the minutes, especially if there is a conflict of interest. When you're ending the meeting, it's obviously make sure that you are very clear that the meeting has ended so people know that they can leave. While you will try to avoid this situation, there may be times when you will need to make a decision on letting your meeting run significantly over. And, understandably, I've had this happen. I'm going into a meeting thinking that everything's going to be smooth sailing. And midway through the meeting, we come to a bit of a fork in the road. road. There might be some issues with another team member or another committee member where they're bringing in different perspective, and all of a sudden it continues to go into a deeper conversation. You know, if that happens, make sure that you address it to the rest of your committee members to say, look, this seems to be a bit of more of an issue than we planned. We may be going over the meeting time, and just make sure that they have an understanding of that, or you can get feedback. So you need to give the option for the participants to either stay or go. And also, if you are hiring out a room at a particular venue, you need to make sure that they are not waiting for another organization to come in and use that room. When conducting the conducting the meeting, I discussed it was important to take minutes and also action and follow-up. So any action items noted should have responsibility assigned to a specific individual and a date by which it's to be completed, because many of us usually work towards a date. Get the minutes of the meeting out as soon as possible after the meeting, and if there is any discrepancies in the minutes that were taken, please let everybody know that they must come back to usually the secretary so that changes could be made, and also everybody needs to see them to make sure that that is what has been discussed at the meeting. And follow up soon after the meeting to ensure that the actions have been addressed. So many times we leave a meeting and we go, yep, I'll do it, and we get stuck back into our daily lives, and then we forget to follow up. I know I've been guilty of that myself, and so usually when I come from a committee meeting and I get back to the office or even at home, if it's fairly easy stuff, I'll quickly address that straight away and know that that job is done. If it's a situation that it needs a little bit more time, I may even put it into my diary for the next day or the following day to block it out, just as it would be any other appointment, so I could get those duties done. So I thank you for your attention. Hopefully you've picked up some tips on how to run effective meetings.